Am I? Okay, welcome everybody. The objective of this meeting is to do something I owe you for a long time, and maybe I'm doing too late, but I'm doing it anyhow. Which is to explain what do I understand about what the platform, what I was carrying the platform, because a lot of people were asking me for a vision, a roadmap, or something. I never had one of these. I always has been very bad in thinking in the long term, or maybe express it. Maybe I was bad in expressing it. Anyhow, now it's a new era. So whatever I'm seeing in this meeting is just an inspiration. Okay, it's not a roadmap you have to follow. You have to find your own path. What I'm seeing here is what has been the recopilation of the challenges I consider that the platform still has, the challenges that we have achieved all together. And it doesn't mean that it has to be the challenge that you will embrace. Okay, so just take this as an inspiration. I have divided the presentation in a few sections. The technical vision. So what has been my lighthouse? Very blurry, but I have it on the back of my mind without me knowing it. What I consider are the CTO responsibilities. What was my responsibilities, and now I over for many people on the team, and not only Juan, but all of you, and some of you with more dedication, and all of you has to have these responsibilities in the back of your mind, because this is a team effort. What I consider has been the Dahlia architecture achievements so far, and what I think are the things that we still have to fight to make it possible. So, starting with the technical vision, and this maybe is the most difficult part for me, because I say I'm always very focused on what is the next problem and what is the next problem, and I was very bad in thinking what has been the 10 cycles further problem. The good thing is that even solving problem by problem, I found out that I was following a path, and with all your help. And this path was mostly based on these three parameters. One is maintainability, scalability, and the third one is flexibility. Then I saw there the 12 concepts that someone pointed out, and I want to investigate this because there is a lot of more interesting things there. But these are the three ones I was putting the most of the attention. So what I understand by maintainability is that the developer feels light when she or he is working in a new business feature or fixing an issue, and the developer feels safe when implementing new functionalities, when adding code to the repository, and is not constantly worried about the side effects of every minimal change. So it's mostly about sensation. Or I feel safe doing this change. I feel safe proposing this change. I feel safe deploying to production. Then it's scalability, both ways. No, I want to scale horizontal, so adding more instances, adding more iron, I can scale. This is the most important dimension for me. Also, I think we have achieved that every component can scale individually, which is, we have seen this very helpful. I mean, when we need more iron in campaign platform in the GetOffers, we were able to launch new environments, put more iron there, and everything works smoothly. We can decrease, we can increase panel hub, the APRs. Also, around the scalability, I think it's very good what we have done with the components. I think the components are very replaceable. Some of them are a monster and difficult to replace, but most of them, it can be replaceable. It can be a plug and play, and we have done it several times. We have done it with publisher plugin, with offer walls, with APRs, with survey interface. And the third component is flexibility. And this is more about every component does one thing and only this thing. And the combinations are infinite. So it's not like two components only do two things. Based on the different combinations that we can do with these components, we can implement new functionalities on top. Maybe things that the originally component was not intended of. We are very far from the ideal scenario in this area, but I think we have done a very good job here there. What are the CTO responsibilities? I choose this image, this God thing, not because I think the CTO is a god, but most because I like it, the image that this figure has many faces and has a lot of hands, and every hand is doing a different thing, but still the faces look relaxed and smiling. And I think this summarizes very good what a CTO represents. So you have to do a lot of things, but still keeping relaxed, keeping smiling. The main responsibilities for the CTO and for the whole technical department, for TouchCore in particular, but for everybody, is to keep the platform, as we mentioned before, with high level of availability, scalability, maintainability. We have to think in data democratization, because everybody needs access to the data. We need to keep pushing quality standards. So that is trying to avoid cowboy-style deployments, doing always things that improve the platform, apart from adding the functionality we are expecting. The most important thing, that technology is not a bottleneck. And I think for 90% of the time of Dahlia, we managed to do this. Technology has been a bottleneck, maybe sometimes, but 90% of the times, technology was a multiplier. And we were supporting business and empowered business, and we were not preventing business to develop. That's very important. I think technology never should be the bottleneck. This is one of our main responsibilities. A CTO and either of you has to help product to find the right technological solutions when product might not have the knowledge enough to understand that there might be technical alternatives for the problem they are heading. CTO, TouchCore, and everybody also responsibility is that developers, data science, DevOps, and quality assurance, all people on the tech teams feel empowered. So that we feel comfortable with the technology. And as I said before, we feel safe and confident making deployment to production and doing changes. And the last thing, but not the less important, our responsibility is also that every new team member can very quick become productive. I think one of the most important objectives for every person joining a team is to feel like it's adding value. So as soon we can make the newcomer of the team to add value, as more happy this person is going to be and better it's going to be for Dahlia. Yeah, this is all. I have many other responsibilities, but this is one I wanted to summarize. What things we have achieved so far? The platform is still maintainable, and I am putting a lot of asterisks there. I know we have many headaches. I know there is a lot of weird things happening in the platform that nobody understands. I know the platform is generating a lot of bugs. But still, I think whenever we are embracing a challenge, a new functionality to add, we have a very nice, what I call maintainability score or maintainability ratio, which is a small formula which we can say that how much time I spend, how much of my attention I am spending on adding this new functionality against how much attention I am putting in actually going around problems and trying to deal with technical debt. And I think in Dahlia, I'm doing a very envelope calculation. I think we can consider that we are in the 80-20. What that means, whenever I need to do a new functionality, I have to dedicate 80% of my time and concentration in adding this new functionality. And then there is 20% of my attention dealing with obfuscate code and over-engineering processes and weird behaviors. But you have your own numbers. This is maybe will be a nice conversations to have, which is your maintainability score for Dahlia. We have to consider that there is some lines of code that has 7 years and still are running and still doing his job, and still we are going through them. So having in consideration this, having in consideration the age of the code that we are maintaining, I think it's still very good maintainable. Agile implementation of complex business logic. What do I say with this? Let me see what I have here. I have some notes here. We have done a lot of initiatives, and some of them are very technical demanding, product experiments. I have a list here, which I take it from the top of my mind. The new offer wall, the new question types, micro rewards, dynamic profiling, optional profiling, recontact platform mechanisms, another trust score mechanisms, reconciliations, multiple offers, sorting algorithms, our own panel, publisher offer walls, multiple reward, a lot of kinds of providers, APIs, integrations, full refactor of many of our components, recently server interface, panel hub, many new quality filters, double opt-in, cross-platform. Now we are experimenting with encryption cross-platform. Any of these initiatives can bring any other company to dedicate big engineering teams for a lot of time, months included, and with difficulties to develop and to roll out, which is not only the development of the new functionalities, but also to put it in production. And I think, all in all, we can say that all these initiatives, we can spend an average of 2 months with engineering teams rounding 2 or 3 developers, and with a very good and smooth rollout experiences. So I consider this an achievement, and we should be aware of this. So adding these crazy functionalities and having the consideration the size of our team and how many things are we doing in parallel, all the evidence we are putting on top, still we are managing in rolling out these features, less in the first version in 2-3 months with small teams. Yeah, it is stable, and it might bring some smiles on your faces. And it's true that recently has been kind of 2 or 3 big blackouts, but neither of them work out because the platform has a degradation on its structure. So most of them was because we were not attentive, because the alert system was not working properly, or because was something that we can never foreseen, like we have a problem with AWS RDS, that all the fallbacks was failing. I think one of the biggest blackouts has been 5 hours in the last year, and all of this with only 2 DevOps. Yeah, very great DevOps, but still there are only 2 of them, and we have 500 servers running there, and they are monitoring all of them. And we don't have anyone on call, which all normally companies in our size has a person 24/7 or a group of person of people monitoring the system 24/7. And we don't. We go to sleep, we don't see the metrics. We go weekends, we don't see the metrics. Well, maybe we do in our spare time, but it's not like our full-time work. So I can consider that all in all, the platform is pretty stable. Developer autonomy, I know there's a lot of complaints, so I cannot deploy this. I don't have rights. And still there is a lot of work to do here. But our aim among with the DevOps people has been always to empower developers to be able to do your job end-to-end with minimal friction. So now you can access to, you have AW access to the accounts. I consider we have an easy deploy. And even we can consider that sometimes we spend 5-10 minutes in one deploy, but this is nuts. This is not really compared with other systems that takes hours and a whole change of command to make a deployment. There are teams specialized in deployment. But here we know, we all deploy, most of us, everybody that wants and thinks it wants to have the right of deploy, he can or she can do it. We have a kind of proper good monitoring system. I know there is a lot of things to go there. Still, we can see when the platform is something is going wrong. Sometimes it's difficult to troubleshoot, but still we can see it. We can even access SSH to the production servers. We have very good working development environments. Time by time, it's getting more complex to have the full platform installed in our development machines, but it still is possible. And we have the staging environment, which with all the complaints, we managed to make it stable, and it's a good playground environment for testing. Now is one of the longest part of these things, and the most important. And what are the challenges? And I want to make this very visible because we need the help for everybody. This is not Juan's, this is not me, this is not the lead team's responsibilities. Everybody's as responsibility. And every day we are making micro decisions. We should have in consideration these challenges, these ones and the new ones that you are going to propose, Juan and the others are going to propose for the new era. One of the biggest ones, and one of we have on fire, is the archiving project. The archiving project, the responsibility of the archiving project is to, first of all, to remove the old data from our main databases. So we leverage these machines for what really is important, which is the hot data. And also avoid the problem that we are heading, that we can reach the limit of RDS and we cannot allocate more data. Another responsibility is that the data is persisted in a cheaper and easy to maintain storage system. The archived data should be easy to be accessible because it still has to be analyzed by business intelligence purposes. So it has to be queryable, an easy way. So we don't need to do any technical, very complex things. So I'm talking about Athena is a good interface, or Superset, or Tableau, or these kind of things that we don't require high technical level of knowledge to access to this data. This is one of the challenges we put in ourselves at the very beginning of the process, and maybe we have to give up of this because it's getting very complex. That if we see that we have done a mistake on the archiving process, we should be able to put it back on the database. Another challenge, security protocols. We in the Touch Core, we have been working on this in the last month, following some strategies, but still is a long way to go. I like this image this is a fort that actually exists. It's called Fort, I don't remember the name, but I like it, the illustration, because it is really illustrate what we want to do with the VPN, where we have our internal APIs, and then we have a API gateway for only one very controllable access to our system. So what are the security protocols? What are the responsibilities of this challenge? To do proper offboarding. And there is a lot of security lag in our offboarding, in actual offboarding processes. So we need to be sure that people that don't belong to the team anymore, they don't have access to any dedicated data, not only for security reasons, but also for privacy and a lot of things. We will be nice to have implement a bugs bounty program. We have been working on this in the past. We have received a couple of contacts with hackers that were finding some security issues in our platform. We were negotiating with them. Everything was good. There was very main small issues like SQL, no, not SQL, but CSS, cross JavaScript, some minor vulnerabilities were not really affecting us. But it will be nice to have a program that we can publish, and this prevents a lot of communication problems and expectations misalignment. We were also trying to make a security audit in our system, so hiring a company that figured out which are the problems that our platform has regarding to security. Didn't work well in the last iteration, but we should try again once we have finished with the VPN. Security questionnaires. This is related to when one of our biggest clients are asking us a list of security questions to see how important are we giving to the security matters. And in the last experiences, it has been very embarrassing to say, no, we are not implementing this, no, we are not implementing this, we are not implementing this. So it will be nice that in the next iteration, we have a lot of yeses for these questions. Like, we are implementing security mechanisms for this. Yes, we are encrypting this. We are backing up this safely. So all these things. So there is a lot of questionnaires that we can follow as an example. And then we can see which of these questions that we are answering no right now, we can transform to a yes. And of course, the VPN cage that Nikita, Jonathan, and Adil, they are very present with this challenge, and we want to put all our internal APIs behind a VPN cage, so we don't have to implement very complicated security layers on top, which is a VPN. Whoever has not access to the VPN cannot access to this the delicate endpoints. Backups. Another challenge for the whole team, for the CTO, for DevOps, for the tech core. We are doing backups, okay? It's not like we are not doing backups, but there are some things that we have to improve here. The responsibility of this challenge is to do backups of all main databases, that's for sure, but also the secondary databases. We have Redis, we have Kafka, we have Mongo, all the configurations, all the monitor systems, so backup of all the Grafana dashboards, all the supersets, documenting how the backups is working, all these things. We have to make it another cycle on this. I think we are doing a very nice job. We are 90%. It's maybe a 10% more to be perfect if this is possible. Yeah, documentation has not any value that we have backups for everything. We don't document how to recover from a backup, where the backups are, how do we monitor if the backups are working. Protocols of how to recover from a disaster, and testing backup recovery periodically. And this is one of the things we done once, maybe, Jonathan, maybe you remember. But we haven't done very often. I think it's a very difficult task. It requires a lot of energy. So I understand priorities are not the most, but we should not forget that this is in our to-do list. And I really trust on digital stuff. I really trust on the cloud. But it's nice to have a physical disk or collection of disks with all the important information physically here and separated 10 kilometers, 100 kilometers in another copies physically, because we don't know if tomorrow AWS is going to be crashed, it's going to be burned, and we are everything there. It's a bit of a fragile situation. Another challenge that we are never forgotten, never forgot. And we are still continue working on it. The user's privacy, we are talking about GDPR and the families. So which are the responsibilities of this challenge? So we fulfill the law, okay? So of course, this is the minimum. We have a law protection. That means that we have a contact with an agency or whatever that can solve any difficulty or any question we have on this regards. That we are safe and confident answering any question regarding to data privacy implementation. That we have a system to anticipate what are the new changes on this regard. So now we have Canada, tomorrow is going to be Brazil with a new implementation. We should get information about this with enough anticipation to react in calm and not in a rush. Onboarding. Well, it's difficult for me to measure which is our onboarding process quality, because I was one of the first developers here. So my onboarding process was a long time ago. So maybe we should consult with the new teams, with the new players on the team, to see how has been her or his process on the onboarding, to see how can we improve this process. Because what are the challenges here? What are the responsibilities? So to keep the engineer's handbook update, okay, this is a document we started long ago, but I think has been forgotten, and it requires, and maybe it requires a completely new version. Okay, maybe we should swap out what we have there, but we need a document, something to welcome the new team members with explanatory about whatever are the basics, not everything, but whatever are the basics. So call it engineer's handbook or call it welcome postal card or whatever, but we need something, and we need to keep it maintainable. We need a process that developers has access to all the system they need as quick as possible. And we are talking about, of course, GitHub, about all the superset, all the monitoring system, all the passback, all the systems developer requires. This has to be almost automatic. New developers become productive quick. And this is, of course, important for Dalia, but also it's important for the new developer. She or he needs to feel productive as soon as possible. So there is a lot of levers. We can make the platform simpler, which is difficult, or we can understand which are the things that a newcomer can start adding value without destroying his or her mind with a lot of information. So it might be tasks that the new developer can already tackle. And once the new developer is becoming productive, another challenge is to make the developer to have full knowledge of the platform as soon as possible, but not the whole platform. That I think this is something that we should already avoid to think that this is possible. I don't think anyone in the company, not even me, has full knowledge of the whole platform. But unless whatever is necessary for this person, okay, unless whatever is necessary for this person, whatever is his or her context of work, the knowledge of this portion of the platform has to be delivered and has to be unstable as soon as possible. I'm talking if we want to put some number in 1 month's time. In 1 month's time, the developers should know 80% of the part of the platform that this person requires for his or her job. Another challenge, monitoring. Yeah, we have monitors. I think we have a very good job here. I know there is a lot of critical on this side, and I'm confident there is a lot of to go. So what are the things, how can I summarize what I think are the challenges here? Alerts has a meaning. I think we are 90% there. I have alerts on my mobile, and I think DevOps has done a very good job tuning the thresholds of this alert. So every time there is an alert on my mobile, 95% of the times, it's very important, and I have to attend it. 5% is just noise. And I can say that 90% of the times there is a big problem, I am receiving an alert. So we are there. It's just missing some more 5% and maybe adding more some business KPIs that we are missing. This is all technical alerts. We need a system to keep track of the main KPIs. And I'm saying that we can go back maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years time. We have Grafana for this, but maybe we can implement another system. We need a PSO, okay, to simplify. Maybe it's not the PSO we have implemented, maybe it's another thing, but we need a one-shot status Dahlia platform monitor. And it can be PSO, can be other things. But one page that I see, everything is green, is good. I can go lunch, I can go to sleep. Another challenge, we receive alerts with enough anticipation. Some of the alerts you cannot anticipate. You cannot anticipate that one of the platforms are down or whatever, but you can anticipate when the disk is going to be gone or when the SSL certificate is going to expire with enough anticipation so we can react. I am pointing this here because there has been some cases that this was not the case. And as we don't have anyone on call, the alert maybe comes in Saturday, and when we come in Monday, it's too late. So just to implement the system that we can, whatever is predictable, we receive an alert with at least 2 days of anticipation. Another challenge, of course, is to avoid alert noise. And we have a lot of monitors, and in the monitors, not in the alert system, not in the mobile notifications, but in a lot of monitors, especially in rollbar and these cases, there is a lot of noise. There's a lot of things we can improve there. House mastering. This has been a very long fight with resources to have a proper house mastering. In the last 4 months, happily, we have a proper house master figure that is rotatory, so there is always a different person. But I think it's a very important member of the team. It's for externally, because the platform is more, it is defended by this person, and all the other teams are also supported by this person, but also internal, because the platform has someone that it is looking to the eyes and to the platform and see if something is failing, something that nobody else are looking at. So the house master is this kind of 2 levels of good addition to the value of the technical part of the platform. And I also think it's very good for the house master himself or herself, because it gives you the opportunity to deal with different parts of the platform and not only focusing whatever is the business team you are concentrated all the day. And it generates a lot of muscles, it generates a lot of knowledge of the platform, and makes you become a Swiss Army knife. So you understand the platform, you have a feeling, you have an intuition, what are the problems, how can troubleshoot in this problem. So what are the responsibilities of this challenge? Of course, fix bugs, not only bugs, also to put attention on the touch depth. proactively to monitor the system to find covered issues. And this is very important part. Of course, no one is looking for covered issues because they have enough work in their own issues and their own progression. So no one is looking back to see what else is the platform telling us and nobody is listening. So being proactive in looking to the monitors, to rollback, to see the logs, to see what are the problems that nobody has seen is part of the responsibility of the Hausmeister. Of course, attending emergencies, so everybody can continue with the flow while the Hausmeister is always available wherever there is a fire. When any other team has a difficulty, Hausmeister can support this team or this person. And I know the boss is doing a lot of this work, but I hope Hausmeister is also supporting there. Another challenge, scale 10 plus, 10 by 10 times. These are the key, this is the KPIs for me. For me, the KPIs, if the platform is scalable or not. For me, the KPIs are, is the platform capable to scale twice the load that it has now without any technical modification? In the sense that we can scale horizontally. So we can put more machines, we can trigger auto scaling, and then we don't have to do any technical changes, but still the platform can scale 2 times the actual load. The second metric is the platform capable to scale 10 times to the actual load without technical changes? And these technical changes has to be in the order of 3-4 months, 4 developers. So if we answer to these questions with a yes, I think the platform is scalable. And then there's a progress bar, no? So yeah, maybe it's not in 4 months, but maybe in 6 months. So maybe we are not totally scalable, but we are there. What are the challenges here, or the responsibilities? Making periodically load tests to see which are the actual capabilities of our system. We done this. Jonathan was working on this maybe 4 years ago. We never had done it later. I think it's a very difficult test to do. And I don't know if we have the capabilities, not the time, but we should not forget that this is in our to-do list. We have to constantly analyze where are the bottlenecks. Everybody talk, and myself, about the get office. Is the actual bottleneck, but is it? Because we have seen in the Reconta platform, people has been able to not only double, but maybe 10 times the actual load of the get office and still being able to run it. Just adding a new environment, pointing to a red replica, boom, we have horizontal scaling. So what are the other bottlenecks? Implement solutions to solve the bottlenecks. Of course, once we have figured out what are the bottlenecks, we have to find a plan to implement solutions for them. And also trying to find the balance between scalability and optimizing and maintainability. Okay, we also should consider maintainability as one of our metrics to keep. It's not good that we implement the whole system in Ensembler. It's going to take us more than 4 months, but we can do it. And it's going to be 100 times faster, but it's going to be hell to maintain. So we should keep an eye on maintainability while we are looking for optimization. Databases. Databases has grown, let's say, wildly. We have put tons of information in databases. We always scale databases, adding more disk. We rarely review the indexes. We rarely review the schema of the databases. So someday will be time to actually put an eye here. We did this with Fulcrum. We even was collaborating with an expert on the USA. And we did some improvements there, but still there is a lot of other databases that require some, as this guy is doing. So putting the bugs, oh, this tube is not necessary, adjusting here, there. So one of the responsibilities of this challenge is identify the performance issues. So I think nobody in the team is looking for the slow queries, but we are tracking them. We're just not looking at them. Where are the missing indexes? Where are the over redundant indexes that we have seen that there are many? Which are the fields definition that are not well? For example, all these text fields, myself is the more responsible of this when we have JSON fields now, or maybe these JSON fields should not be in the database at all. So as I say, checking for indexes, optimization, redundancy, the node used once, I think is one of the most expensive part of our databases, the indexes. Checking the configuration, because MySQL and all the databases has a lot of tuning, a lot of parameters to change, memory use, cache things, cache size, whatever. I'm not an expert, I don't know, but we have seen a lot of progress in the Fulcrum databases, just tuning some configuration parameters. We also have to start thinking in progressively move to a more suitable data sources. So for example, the look events is a very clear case that is maybe MySQL is not the right data source to keep all this information that is actually immutable and rarely queried. So maybe it's another data source system which is much better. Another example is demographics. Demographics are everywhere. They are attached to the entities, and there are big text fields that maybe they are not necessary to be there all the time. And then we have this very touch depth thing there, which is all, not all, no, it's not all, but many of our fields are still Latin 1, which have to change the collation. Now it's not UTF, now it's an MB64 or whatever. We have to little by little upgrade these fields to a more elastic or flexible encoding version. End-to-end test automation. Sabina, you're here. This is a battle we have tried to confront many times. And we are still in the middle here. We never have finished this. This is just trying to make tests of the platform as a whole. So we have plenty of unit testing. I think we have a very good test coverage policy, not only in the test coverage metric, but also in the edge cases. We are doing a very good unit testing. But I think we are still missing connecting components and doing tests that goes through components to see that the important workflows are always stable. So what are the responsibilities here? First of all, to find which are the workflows to test. Okay, we don't want to test everything. Maintain end-to-end tests are very expensive. So we have to decide very wisely which are the workflows we want to test. We have to do this among with product people. We have to decide which end-to-end test architecture. I think we have an idea. Sabina can point you there if you have more questions here. And then we have to develop protocols, how to deploy these changes, how to automate the execution, how we monitor when there is a violation. And then we have to implement these workflows end-to-end, and we have to deploy them. And last, but not less important, we have to mentorize our developers so they can continue this work by themselves. This is not a one-person work. It's all of us responsibility. So it's not one person who has to manage all the end-to-end tests, but we have to be ourselves individually who is maintaining these libraries. Geo-sharding. This is a big one, but it can be someone with imagination can discover a easy way to solve this problem. So what do I mean with geo-sharding? All our servers are in Ireland, and we don't suffer any latency from here, Germany. but we have seen people in China having waiting 10 seconds to load the survey interface, which is dramatically a problem. And I can imagine that it's the same problem in US, which is a free technology country, but their connections, internet connections, are not as good as here. So the latency there is very important. And we know our users are mostly very impatient people, mostly mobile users. So we cannot keep them waiting 10 seconds to load the interface. The latency is critical for us. And of course, there is something that we cannot overpass, which is physical of the velocity of light. And if our servers are in Ireland, whatever is our system is fast, we still have this limitation, the cable limitation. So we have to find a solution. We have to be able to put part of our platform there in US and part of our platform there in China. And we have to provide them with enough resources, web services, and data so they can manage from mostly local environment. So what are the responsibilities here? Reduce connection latency, okay, among global regions. Now we are there. Why not to share the data based on country, for example? Why not distribute all our data in different countries? And I'm not talking about duplication. I'm talking about US data is in US, Europe data is in Europe, Asia data is in Asia. We also can, with this, solve the problem of the hypergrowth of our databases because the data is going to be already distributed. It's a very interesting challenge here. We have, of course, once we start playing these games, deployment process might change. It can be another level of deployment process. So do we want to deploy this in all regions? Is full automatized or not? We want to deploy this in different regions, different deployments. It can make our lives more miserable. So we should be very careful of how do we plan this geo-sharding. Platform resilient. This is one of the biggest fragilities in our platform. When one component is down, 90% of the platform is down. Well, not all the cases, but we know we are talking the usual suspects, panel hub, campaign platform, survey platform, even A/B testing. Druid platform. So we have a big challenge here in front of us. How can we make platform resilient to problems? Responsibilities. Avoid the snowball effect that we have seen many times. When a component is down, the whole platform is down. So let's try to figure out strategies to reduce this situation. We have to figure out the way to move processes as much as possible to async mode, because when they are in async mode, you are not waiting for the response of the destinatary of your message. Then you don't inherit the problems that the destinatary have. Well, one important thing, not every message can be moved to async mode, okay? Many of them, and maybe most of them, still has to be synchronous because we need to wait until the response. If not, we cannot move forward. Implement proper retry policies, especially for the async processes. And we have active jobs everywhere, but we don't have any retry because actually, how do we implement active jobs? Or most particularly, which are the commands that these active jobs are executing? Many of them are not possible to be retried. So we have to think how can we make as much of our async processes retriable. And then if the client is failing, we can retry until the client wakes up. Implement fallback mechanisms for real-time processes. So when one of the components is down, and of course, if it's critical, we cannot fall back, but maybe it's not critical. Maybe it's A/B testing. Maybe it's Druid platform, and the Druid portal, sorry. And then maybe we can fallback. We can fall back to a nil. We can fall back to, okay, forget about the A/B testing occurrence. Let's think about this, whatever is possible. Not always is possible, okay? And yeah, someone is going to have a lot of fun here if we manage to do this. So instruments and chaos engineering sessions. This is because I choose these monkeys here. These monkeys are sucking with rocks, biting. I don't know which this guy has in his mind, but nothing good. So try to create some Freaky Friday. Let's put panel hub down and see how our alert monitoring system behaves, how the platform react to this chaos. But not before all the previous process are implemented, because if not, we know which is going to be the outcome. It's going to be everything down. Event-oriented architecture. We are starting to play with Kafka, but we just started. There's a lot of things we can go there. I have been the first one trying to delay this thing, but if we want to have a resilient platform, if we want to have a scalable platform, we have to start thinking on this. And I'm not talking about big refactors, but I'm talking about the new things that we are working on. How can we do it in a sync way? How can we do it in a more more oriented, more event-oriented mode? So which are the responsibilities of this challenge? Or maybe the outcome. So the components become more autonomous. And I don't see this coupling here, that I have to deploy this among this, because if not, nothing's going to work. If this is a channel where I send the message, and then there's a channel, I receive the message, my only dependence is the channels, not all the orchestration of the other components. As we have said, as a nice outcome is the platform becomes more resilient, because the whole asynchronous is more resilient by itself. We can implement more retriable mechanisms. I don't have dependency if someone is listening to my request or not. We can build on top better as we are doing now. Once we have a channel where there is a lot of information delivered on this channel, we can plug clients, we can plug consumers to these channels to implement new functionalities without, and this is very important, without any change on the already existing components. This is because I choose this drawing here, because you see these giraffes are reading the newspaper, but I'm sure the editor of the newspaper, she or he didn't know that it's going to be this news are going to be read by these two giraffes. This is the magic of the event-oriented architecture. You deliver the message, you don't know who is going to be listening, but you don't care also. Technical depth. And I think this is the last one. I chose this image because I was trying to illustrate what technical depth looks like, but I did the opposite. I tried to illustrate what not technical depth looks like. So it's like you are programming and there are butterflies all around your head. Now, this is how I want everybody of us to feel like that we are implementing in the platform and there is just butterflies coming from our keyboard. Challenges here or responsibilities. The tech debt is not increasing exponentially. I am not even saying decreasing, because it's something that we cannot avoid. Technical debt is going to increase, but unless it's not increasing exponentially. Another responsibility for this challenge is that developers are feeling agile while implementing new features. I have had experience in past companies. Juan maybe can remember these cases that we wanted to add a new field to a database, and then we have to do the migration in one project. We have to run the migration here. The consequences are unimaginable. Whatever when we wanted to add just a new field in one of the tables. So we have to avoid this. We have to feel. You have to feel lean. And this is the whole presentation, people, and it's our responsibility. And so we have to understand that the platform is an alive entity. So there are gonna things that the platform is gonna do things that maybe we don't expect, maybe we don't want it. But it's nice just to feel the sensation that we are being a good influence for its evolution. So I'm closing here. Don't know if you have any question now. You can also give me questions or something by mail. As I said, this is kind of an open letter, okay, for the developers, and it's something that I have planned to do very long ago, but I never do it. And also, it's not a roadmap. You can ignore everything here. It's just an inspiration based on my experience of 7 years on Dahlia and more previous experience as a developer. So take this as with a grain of salt, and add more things on top of this, and ignore whatever you don't feel like they're important now. Okay, I'm closing here. Thank you. I will share the links if you want to review this. Okay. Bye now.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fernando. Very nice drawings.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, people.
Super.